was an archway there made out of wood. There's a bathtub wall up there, and a toilet drain here. This is the load-bearing wall where the water damage from the bathroom over the decades was feeding termites and damaging the wood. So I ripped it all out. It's pressure treated in there. There's a footer down there. There it is. It's in concrete footer. That they had the stuff on the floor, but it was all rotted. It wasn't doing much work. And it's the same thing over here. Concrete footer. I got to rip out the bottom plater, which I'll probably have to cut it out. I want to take out this piece. This piece will probably come out pretty easy. And I'm going to replace it, instead of 2x6s, I'm going to use 6x6. Go down to the concrete footer with a 6x6 by 12 pieces, or I can get 6x6 by 10s. And I'm going to put at the top, once I get the other 6x6 in this side, right and left side, at the top I'm going to put a 6x6 under this whole section. And then and I'll do the top plater later, whatever. Just one piece I got to take out. So I'm going to put a 6x6 on each side. And it'll go up about 10 feet, and then from there I'm going to box it in with 6x6s with a 90 degree on each side. And I'm also going to put a 6x6 across the top and box it in with 6x6s. And I'll put the arch back in later. I have the old pieces here. The wood just came out real easy. It was pretty much termite damage, the whole thing. 100 years old. So I have the arch piece right here. You can see how it's curved. I'm just going to use that as my template for later. It's for cutting the piece of wood I decided to go with there. Just got to take this 2x6 out, replace it with a 6x6 at the top, 6x6 across from the left side to the right. It's going to be held up with the two vertical 6x6s. I might box it down a little lower or at the height of the old arch with 6x6s, because these are 2x6s, and I can use 6x6s to beef this wall up. It's a load-bearing wall for a very relatively light area of the house, second story, and the other load-bearing wall is, the other load-bearing wall is motion light detector. The other load-bearing wall is here. There's an arch here. I'll go to the other side of that.
So it's a weird game.
You see the old arch? There are two of them. Another load-bearing wall. I don't think this load-bearing section is going to have any damage because it didn't have any water getting to it. It didn't have a bathroom above it. There's no water, no plumbing above it. Coincidentally, the load-bearing section that had plumbing above it, which is there's your bath, there's your bathtub drain, toilet drain, and this is it used to be cast iron, so I'm sure there was like a crack, and when that happens, the termites can go into the pipe and drink and just go crazy in this area, close to the water. You see, they're close to the water. They're not stupid, these termites. They live and do their damage close to the water leak or whatever. But that's when you didn't have pressure treated wood. Nowadays they got this pressure treated wood, and it's incredible, that stuff. Over and out. Just a quick video of this archway repair. This is the living room of the main house. We put in a new floor up there, leveled it off. Got stuccoed the walls and resealed the walls with fresh stucco, fixed all the damaged concrete with concrete and rebar. Redid the headers over this door. Gonna redo the header over that door next. There used to be 5 pieces here. We put 3 instead. It's just 5 is overkill. You have a load-bearing wall 10 feet away. And it's not a lot of weight here. It's just a walkway. Most of the weight is in this part on the concrete walls or the bedroom. That's where all the stuff is. Here you just have a bathroom and a closet space and a walkway. But yeah, these 2 by 12 by 16s, there's 3 of them together with a 2 by 8 to bring it up to plywood height on that edge. The plywood install. Shim it down to match that level, the other half of the ceiling. I had to disconnect the plumbing here. I got to replumb it again. Copper and PVC. There's a sink right here. Probably going to keep the original route because if you have a leak in the ceiling of the second floor, there's damage to 2 sections instead of 1. So it's better to have the leak close to the ground. So you run your pipes under and up. If you go over and down and you have a leak up there, it creates more damage. Got some new electrical here. I'm going to put motion sensor light switch there with a regular switch for the fans. Motion sensor will turn on the 2 fan lights. There's 2 fans in this living room. There always was 2 fans in this living room. I'm gonna put 2 fans back in, 1 in each lengthwise to the main window that's facing east of the house. New impact windows, then the fan there, and then soffit lighting all around, all on that one switch. All LEDs lighting. The kind you see right here. Really thin profile. They only use like 6 watts and they have 5 color tones. This is more like a daylight here. For the power it uses, it's very great light, very impressive. So I'm gonna put those lights in here after I insulate everything. I'm gonna prime everything too with primer, with paint sprayer. Got to finish stuccoing this side, restoring this side. I'm gonna put some fresh wood in here, redo this section here. 2x4s the whole way. It's just a walkway. There's no weight there. Weight's on the concrete corner here. And right here. Because that's just like a wooden handrail system for the stairs. It's very lightweight. Motion lights again. See this whole thing, you know, is on there. It's just for the stairs. It's always like this. Just restoring it. I'm not changing any of the layout. Most of the light switches and plugs is where they were before too. Oh, and as I discovered they had wall sconces on each side of the fireplace, so I'm gonna probably put them back. See that old hole? There's another one over here that I already filled in. And there was also a wall sconce here for the outside of this window. Got a bunch of stuff in front of it. It's an impact window. There was another wall sconce here on the outside of this window. Two lights on the outside of the window originally, and there was a light on this side of the front door. Right there. Originally there was a light there, so I got to reconnect that. Put the new floor in here. This always happens when I start a project. I end up tearing out a bunch of wood and redoing it. So here's the motion light for the living room. When you walk in from over there, from the kitchen dining area, you'll trigger this motion light. When you walk in the front door, you'll trigger this motion light. And the lights will go on in this ceiling here. There's just a standard plug. You plug your stuff in. I'm going to network off this pipe system for the light outside, which is going to be a photocell light, which also has a manual off switch, or there will be a plug out there right by the where the light's going to get mounted. Wherever I put the light, there will also be a plug for like barbecues and shit like that, and running a fan or whatever you want to do. That will get tapped off here, the plug circuit and the light circuit. I have a plug and light circuit there, gauge 12. And so I'll just tap off the light circuit and plug circuit through here with a 14 3BX. You share the common because it's not going to be using a lot of power. You can do that. That goes outside to a plug. There's going to be a plug there anyway on the inside of the wall. So I'm going to put the box right over that. Power both plugs at the same time. I'm going to jump from there to here over this window with pipe and put a plug there. I'm going to cut across this corner with BX. Because going up and back down is a lot of waste of wire and pipe. And it's only for this plug and the outside wall sconce, which will be on a photocell strictly. So you have no switch to turn it on or off. But the lights themselves have switches so you can turn it off like that. And I have a plug down here. I bring the plug from up there, plug circuit, down this wall, put a plug there, come back up with the light circuit for the wall sconces on the fireplace, which will be manually switched right here next to the fireplace. I gotta bring the plug and light circuit to right here for this bathroom. So that's where the old switching was. But I'll put a plug there also up high. Or maybe even down low there, but I'm gonna go back up through here. Just to switch the bathroom light. Or I might put the motion sensor to the left on the wall inside the bathroom. Because this is the bathroom for the living room area where everybody hangs out. And then they'll go use the bathroom here because it's for guests. You know, there's no shower in there, just a toilet and a sink. And yeah, I'll just put that to a normal bathroom. I was going to put a shower stall in here. And I was going to close off this door with the cinder block, put a shower stall here. The drain is there. I got to redo this bathroom. It's a full redo. The walls have been restored a long time ago. Redid the header over there. Put a new 6x4 in here down to the concrete. I brought the original footer up a little bit with concrete. Yeah, and I was gonna leave that door for the guest room over there. Close off this door permanently. Put a shower stall in there, right? Get rid of these two doors. Make the living room a little bit more smaller living room, but then these two doors, you know, there's two doors here on each side of the fireplace. They open up into this extension my dad put in the 80s. And it's just another 500 square foot room. It's got its own door to the outside. You close off that door and make this like a private entry for guests with one bedroom with a bathroom. And on this bathroom wall here would be the kitchen countertop curving around this wall with a kitchen sink there, because there's plumbing in this bathroom and drainage. And I'll just go through the wall to put a kitchen sink here, but you gotta watch out when you add bathrooms and kitchen spaces and shit. They get you in the taxes. They do a census. They ask you how many kitchens and sinks you have, how many toilets do you have, to see if you've added any. And if you did, they raise your taxes. But so I might not. I don't know. I'm just gonna put a countertop here and a small, tiny little built-in dish strainer. You know, one of those one-piece stainless steel sinks with built-in dish strainer. I put, you know, and if this door's not here anymore, I can keep the cabinet going to the corner there. It'd be a pretty big cabinet space, and this little guest room wouldn't need any dining table, because they could just put some stools over there and eat on the counter space, the countertop, and that leaves the center part of the room for just the small table and chair, the couch, or your bed, whatever. A bed. The bed can go in that corner over there next to the east window. You could have your TV on the south window facing your bed. And this is the window by the door. And then you have like a table, a bed. Close off those two doors. Put a kitchen sink here. This is a 2-door bathroom. Close off that door to the living room. And then what happens is the living room guests, when they gotta go take a dump, go to the bathroom, they gotta fucking use the bathroom that's on the other side of this walkway. This is where the stairs is to the second story. You take this out, and it's that arch system. You walk through here, and then there's a dining room. And there's not another bathroom until you get to the other side of the house. So to go take a dump, they gotta cross the kitchen. That's why that bathroom's there, so you don't gotta go in and out through the kitchen area. See, this is where this is the old dining room. That's a TV room. There's the kitchen, and the next bathroom is all the way through the kitchen to the left here. There's the bathroom. Move this washer and dryer over to here and make that back door entry space more spacious, you know? There's more space here for other things like a bike or whatever, you know, things you want to keep inside from the weather, stuff like, you know, whatever. And you got a closet here. You know, pretty big house. I think so. When you count the bedrooms upstairs, it's 3 bedrooms. It's about 900 square feet in total. Small rooms. 2 bedrooms are small, and they share a bathroom. Gonna redo this kitchen area here for the kitchen. Gonna put a new air vent system there to the outside. An advanced one. Probably going to build my own pulse motor for this one. I'm going to get like a fan, a nice fan prop, and attach magnets, and use 12 volts to run it, and I'll have the output for charging batteries whenever it's running. Just have backup batteries for power outages. This is an old one. I kept changing these cheap fans you get for 15 bucks. They keep the brushes keep going bad, and it's a pain in the ass to change them. So I'm going to build a brushless pulse motor, a Bedini style with a trigger winding. And yeah, you know, you don't have brushes to go bad. That's the problem with this. Is a DC fan, very efficient, but it's not a, and it's also a DC pulse motor fan, but it pulses via brushes, not via trigger winding or a Hall sensor, or reeds don't last very long either. They'll last longer than brushes will. I'm gonna make this whole thing bigger and stronger, so you can hang cooking gear on there. Double as a space to hang cooking gear, and have the exhaust bigger, so the exhaust will be the size of the box, so the hot air can pocket in there and escape easier than it does now with such a thin, small cavity, basically. You know, and when you have the cavity holding the fan small, and that gets hot a lot, and that's what burns out these fans, that extra heat. So you want to extend this box all the way to the corner, minus a couple inches for safety, or even 6 inches, 8 inches, maybe stop it to here. Make this as big as possible. This what do you call these things? Air vents for cooking. And you bring a box even further to this wall, same depth as the other wall, so you have a safety 45 here, and nobody's going to hit it. You can hang stuff on the vertical 45 you put in on this corner, and it'll be way bigger. Cavity in there will be way bigger, so it'll carry more hot air away from the motor, like a capacitor, a bigger storage for hot air. And then it'll push itself out with a lot less fan power, because heat rises. So the more you can pocket that heat, by the time it makes the turn, the pressure there will be much greater. That's just the Schauberg physics, huh? Whatever, I'm gonna build a pulse motor here. It's never gonna go bad, because I've changed this fan, excuse my language, about 5 or 10 times. I'm sick and tired. I'm not buying any brush form motors with brushes again. It's a waste of $15 money for the whole thing. Hey, you know, but it installs easy and it runs for 6 months. When you have to change things every 6 months, like a car, and you don't want that in a house. I'm gonna redo these lights with that same new LED technology. So yeah, this is gonna be a bigger exhaust port. It's nice and squared off, as big as possible, without impinging on the walkway there, or the entrance to the laundry room there, next to the kitchen sink. Gonna have kitchen cabinets on that wall. Probably gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something different as far as kitchen cabinets go on the wall. Probably gonna be all glass doors, so you can see what's inside the cabinets without opening the doors. And I'm gonna put them up kind of high so a kid can't really reach in there, you know? They'd have to hop up on the counter. Bring it out with 2x material as a junction for the power for the second story. And those 3 bedrooms up there are being powered by a 60 amp breaker and a gauge. I think it was gauge 8s or something like that. Gauge 8s, 3 gauge 8s, which can handle 60 amps. Gauge 10 had 30 amps. So, and then I got a sub panel up there with 20 amp breaker on the plug circuit and a 20 amp breaker on the light circuit. And that's it. There's a lot of plugs up there and a lot of lights up there though. And there is 2 light circuits, one for the master bedroom, and I think no, there's a light circuit for each room. separate light circuit. They're going to get their own breaker. I just have them all tied together right now. So but there's 3 light circuits and there is 3 plug circuits. And they're each going to get a 20 amp breaker for each bedroom, light circuit in each bedroom. Anything goes over 60 amp, it trips the main breaker and it trips the 20 amp breaker as well. There's nothing more than a 20 amp breaker is going on the second story, and it's just plugs and switches and lighting. And the AC has its own line coming down to the second story. That's the junction for that. And I'm putting, each room has a light circuit and its own plug circuit on the second story. And I also added a second plug-in light circuit in the same pipe. It's a 3/4 inch pipe feeding the 3 rooms. And it also feeds the same 3/4 inch pipe the crypto I'm following nowadays. The 3/4 inch pipe runs along the whole second story. That junction box that I was just showing you. Send them up to plywood height. And they're probably tileless. There's that pipe coming up to that sub panel. And it's going to have 4 light circuits from 4 plug circuits in there, all on 20 amps. 1 light circuit for this master bedroom, for the hi-hats, and there's a smoke alarm in each room. Another light circuit for this bedroom, which also shares the light circuit for this hallway area and the stairwell, which will have motion, same motion that triggers the one down there in the stairwell. We trigger the lights in this area. There'll be about 10 more, or maybe less. There'll be a motion light LED in this ceiling for the closet. All the closets get a motion lights, no switch, an override switch. But if there's a switch existing, I'll leave it. If not, I'll just run power. Put all these LEDs on motion lights for the closets. This room has its own light circuit. The light circuit in this room is being run over to the hallway, the stairwell hallway. The power the lights in there, and any plugs in there. The plug circuit from here. And I ran an extra in that pipe, 1/2 inch. I ran that extra light and plug circuit that I ran in that 3/4 up there. By the way, the 3/4 runs along the roof. You see it's up there. Runs all the way back to that panel. And I have junctions along the way splitting off for each room. In that one pipe, there's 4 light circuits and 4 plug circuits. The 3 are for the 3 bedrooms up here. And the last circuit, the 4th, is being run downstairs through that 1/2 inch pipe. And that's another light circuit and plug circuit. So that's 4 wires, 2 commons, or 5 wires. 2 commons, a ground, which is gauge 14, and all the rest is gauge 12. It's 4 wires, gauge 12, 2 commons, white, and I think it's an orange and a black. Black is the plug circuit, and orange is the light circuit for the office space. Then there's a separate circuit. No, wait, the same circuit. It's the same circuit. It runs down into the living room. That same pipe. No, not that pipe. It runs down to the living room from the 3/4 up there. I carried it down this pipe. Same circuit. Down to that plug box. And there I split off to run lights and plugs to the whole. Anyway, let me do the bathroom lights on a motion light there with a switch, you know. No, not motion, sorry. Just a switch. A switch, manual switch. Not on a dimmer here. Or it could be on a motion, but you'd have to set it to 30 minutes instead of 15 because of the quality. People like to take long showers with a sink. I put a new sink here, replumb the copper I had to cut down there from the hot and water, cold water feeds and the drainage. I got to replumb it to this sink and to this bathtub drain. So basically the living room and the office space down there is being powered by that fourth circuit that comes from that junction box in the kitchen downstairs. 3/4 inch pipe. And that wall runs out to the breaker panel outside, so it's a very short run to get into a 60 amp breaker. That's how I brought the brand new circuits to the second story, and a brand new circuit light plugs, 2 circuits for each division. And this is the living room, and it's tapped off that fourth circuit that runs in that pipe from the panel all the way up over the roof and back down. This room is tapped off that same circuit right there. It will be wired up to that circuit. That's how I brought the circuit down for the living room in that pipe. And the office room, I brought it down this pipe with a 1/2 inch connecting to the 3/4 main. Got to redo the air conditioning floor with fresh plywood and tile and shit. Ripped out this whole fucking bad wood here. From the water from this bathroom kept feeding the bugs, you know? So I got to rip off that piece. That's not even doing anything load bearing anyway. It's just a wall for this. I'm gonna put the 6x6 under this 2x6 portion down to the footers on each side. So that's a round off of the Freemasonry work we're doing over here. Yeah, also, so when you walk in and that light triggers the motion for this living room, turns on the fan lights, 2 fan lights, and all the hi-hat lights. It will not turn on the sconces around the fireplace. There'll be a manual switch there for that. It will turn on the lights for these 2 display arches. I'm gonna put a new 2x6 up there. This section is supported by pressure treated wood underneath. And there's a wall, a concrete wall there. And this whole, that way it's all concrete wall. So it'll do fine. It won't need to be worked on too much. All the bad wood are pretty much took off except for this piece. So I'm gonna rebuild this arch just like the original with fresh treated, much thicker and stronger wood than was here. And the light circuit for this living room will turn on these 2 display arches that my dad restored, actually. He didn't build them. They were here already. He just found them and restored them. The previous owners covered it, or I don't know. Maybe it was there or I just didn't recognize it. But my dad loved to use this to put stuff in there and light it up, like ornaments and stuff. There'll be 2 lights on the top of each one of these that are low power lights that'll light up the area. They'll be triggered on this motion light, so when anybody is in here, it lights up the entire ceiling and these 2 ornamental sections. And the dimmer will be dimmable. The lights are dimmable, and the motion light is a dimmable motion light. They charge like 50 bucks and more for these lights. I found these on eBay for like 15 bucks. They can do 150 watts in LEDs. Up to 150 watts. 150 watts LED CFO. They can do 500 watts of incandescent. So this is good enough to handle the LED I'm putting in here. Each fixture is like 5 watts or less. And I'm putting in this row LED hi-hats. I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on this row. 4 on that row. 1 in the center. Center over this main window area. It'll be as far away from the wall as possible to like hit this part of the floor. And then the next light over will be the fan light. In between the two fan lights, there will be no lights. Other than the fan lights, because they're going to be enough. With the side lighting of the LEDs, trust me, you don't want it too bright. You could always put one light in between the two fan lights, but I mean, I'm close to the junction box right there anyway. I can do that if it needs it later. But, you know, and then go down there and put one over the middle of that walkway, an LED in the ceiling. Of course, that row has one there over that. There'll be another LED centered over that, another LED centered over that. So I'll probably use these two things, their distance from the wall, to do the LEDs on each row. Which their distance is there is a slight difference between that wall and this wall. I might move it, I don't know. But yeah, it'll be nice. This is a living room, gonna have nice lighting, dimmable, so you can dim it too. Put a TV over the fireplace here. Dim the lights and have lights while you watch movies so it's not like totally dark. It's a 100-year-old house. It's getting a makeover. Over and out. This was a long one.